we've entered an odd stage in marketing. Cause look, Games Workshop isn't like Disney, you know. I mean, they are a big company. They're a multi-million-dollar company, right? But they're not too big to fail. And it's odd that they'd go after just some fucking YouTuber. Like, I guess Carl Benjamin or Sargon of Akkad has political takes and he has a channel of several millions of people who wants to hear them because, maybe they listen to him because they disagree and they want points against. Maybe they do sympathize with the words he say, but it's odd that a company that's meant to sell games, arts, and entertainment goes after a political pundit in the Warhammer 40k community. It's just real odd how this is their boogeyman, right? I also did this with Arch Warhammer. Like, this is the reason why the unofficial subreddits of Warhammer 40k have more people than the official subreddits, because you have people that are, well, these are community managers, but you also have people in the company that are ideologically possessed, and they are willing to go after just any just random Joe Schmo who has a different opinion, right? And they believe this is the way things should be to profligate their ideology. But what you end up doing is you just lose people because, again, Carl Benjamin or Sargon of Akkad has millions of followers, and if CA would just, or Games Workshop, CA's a subsidiary, if Games Workshop would just shut the fuck up and sell a product, these people wouldn't go out of their way to not buy any more of their product. But no, they have to be political. They it's like the ideology is the product. They just happen to sell games. But why Carl Benjamin in particular, right? Why a political pundit? Because I haven't really read this. Villinizes, pundit Carl Benjamin in their 2020 book Necromunda Road to Redemption. So they don't outwardly go after that. They put him in a book and then they shit on him in there. It's like, is it what that Star Wars did with not Star Wars? Is it what She-Hulk did with Doomfist, where they shit on him? Right? Again, these people, they live their entire lives in reality, in the real world, on the internet. Like, the idea of fiction doesn't come across their minds because, again, they're pushing an ideology, right? And they need to use fiction as sort of like the VTuber to push it. But what you see is the market rejects this. Even if they agree with your ideology, at the end of the day, people need entertainment. Like, I don't put money aside for someone to push their ideology. I put money aside for the sake of my own entertainment. And this is 100% selfish, right? But, you know, some people work for a living and they're not happy when they're at the job, despite what your company tries to do by saying, oh, you're part of a family. Like, despite this, people are like, no, I get happiness from my own family, not from a soulless corporation. It's your family when you're productive and you're working, but when that's not happening, all of a sudden you're a problem. It's just this odd fucking ideology that doesn't benefit anybody. Like, I guess it benefits the company because they can, manipulate you, but it doesn't benefit you as a person. What benefits you as a person is your family, is your friends, is your community, the people around you. But see, if you're ideologically possessed, you think the family is evil and oppressive because it takes effort and blood, sweat, and tears, and sometimes you put on all that and you still fail, you know. But that's the risk people take. Like, that's the risk your fucking mother and father take to create your ass. But I guess your mother and father is incorrect, right? Again, how people, you know, procreate is you vote Democrat, right? And they import just immigrants by the thousands, just unfiltered. And this is how the population swelters. And according to the UK, right, which is where this article's from and where Carl Benjamin is from. I think CA is a UK company, or at least it's a European company, right? And then this is how what they believe, and I think it's fucking weird. Like, nowhere else on the planet except, I guess, first world nations is this applicable, you know? But I guess in, you know, the realm of Western countries, this is just the way things are. And again, you're supposed to shut the fuck up. You're supposed to suck in the ideology, even if it is in your entertainment, and God forbid you say anything against it, because a fucking multi-million-dollar company will go after you. I do believe that, and this article's pretty old, like it's probably a couple months old by now, but I'm pretty sure if I was Carl, I'd be the most giddiest motherfucker on the planet. It's like, wow, a company, again, that's supposed to be selling entertainment at the end of the day is now going after political pundits. Sorted by Fandom Pulse, X-User, Chain, Sword, 40k, Brother Revelation Public. Attention, while noting that Brooks is a woke activist and one of the most woke black library authors. Okay, so where does he villainize Akkad, Sargon? Number screenshot proves assertion. He shares screenshots of books claiming that the Orcs faction and freebooters support pride, trans rights, and Black Lives Matter. What? The fuck? Orc factions of freebooters support pride, trans rights, and Black Lives Matter. Why would in the dark future of Warhammer 40k a completely alien race would support current day American bullshit? Again, this is what fucking Heels versus Babyface was talking about when he said, oh, fucking current day. Like, again, this is fiction. It's supposed to be a completely fictional world, but people don't think this way. They're like, oh no, fiction has to be reality. It has to reflect reality. It has to push political messages. And you have just the everyday people being like, yeah, this is bullshit, I'm turning away. But no, they have to push this, right? Ancient being inserted, activism being burned for an alarm, Black Library, Life Woke, agenda every piece. Wanted dead LGBT gangers. Impress setting for the big DACA. Again, they're pushing all these. And again, this is just a fringe minority of American ideology that doesn't, and I guess in other places, like tiny places of first world nations, but the rest of the world doesn't think this way. They don't use this terminology. They don't act this way. This is a small fringe minority of people who use these terms, and I have the fucking hiccups. This happens every fucking time I start a video. I'm pouring this goddamn Mountain Dew. I'm not editing this out whatsoever. So again, people see this and they're like, bro, what the fuck's going on here? Like, why are you needing to do, like, what is the point? Right? And again, we know the point. Like, they're a company that sell the ideology. Again, is the product. The product is the lip service to a small, fringe minority ideology, radical ideology, and they just happen to make video games. Like the video games is the byproduct. Like they hate the lore. They hate the people that they sell to. They hate the fact that they have to sell it through a video game. Like if they could just sell LGBT propaganda or woke propaganda, they do that, but they know the market won't stand for it. And they know the market won't stand for it now, but they do it anyway. Road to Redemption riding a villain known as Sargon Akkad. So is this the Sargon of Akkad cameo? I think this would be hype. Like if they just made a character for every, you know, right wing political opponent, and just I take that back. That'd just be dumb in 40K, but man, again, it's like what they did in She-Hulk with Doomfist, making him even more popular. Because again, what they see is the majority of just everyday people agree with what Sargon is saying, but they're doing lip service to political ideologies, to interest groups, you know, to the small fringe minority on Twitter, to journalists and ESG, right? And you are not the customer. You, the person who pays tens of thousands of dollars to paint dolls, right? You are no longer the customer. You know, they want interest groups, they want political, they want ESG, you know, they want, you know, BlackRock, and they want investor money. They don't want the people like you and me that work for a fucking living, get up off their ass, put money aside for entertainment and entertainment only, not pushing someone else's political message, not pushing an ideology, not pushing an agenda for nothing but entertainment, right? You know, and they'll gladly take the money of racists, but they'll then spit in your face like they want this weird baby daddy relationship with you. And it's like people with any level of self-respect will not stand for that. It's like, no, you cannot take my money then fucking spit on me, right? And again, this is why people are turning away from 40K, and it's a shame because I want to play Space Marines too. Well, fuck it, I'm going to play it because, you know, I'm taking the risk. Like, I hate the company that 40K is under, right? And the fact that they hold their IP close to their bosom. And above that, they're incapable of actually creating a good product. Or like, I miss when they used to lend their IP out to other companies, and you'd get so many different types of 40K games. Like, if you want first-person shooters, you got that. If you want strategy, you got that. If you want turn-based shooters, you got that. Now the majority of the shit they come out with is like MOBAs, like online card games, like, you know, the type of stuff that people don't want. Or maybe there's a few fringe minority of people that will play, you know, it's kind of like a Hearthstone, but for 40K. Effectively, it's a gacha game. But, again, we have to wait years. And again, Space Marines 2 has been pushed back. So, wait, which is an obvious joke at Sargon. Lots of try-hard allegories of real-life politics, unpronounced gender identity. Space Marines could have some kind of romantic feelings for others. Yeah, again, this is someone injecting ideology into something that is clearly fiction. Again, they love this, right? They do not believe you deserve entertainment. They believe everything that is pushed through entertainment needs to push this fringe ideology that not even most Americans agree with. Wait, there are comments. The chess, or is this just part of the two comments? I heard some people trying to be reasonable and blame the right and left for tearing each other apart, but this is a good illustration of why I don't believe that to be the case. The left is constantly itching for a culture fight and goes to very odd lengths to to instigate the right, and the right, for the most part, wants to be left alone. These people are obvious with tearing things down and doing so in these very strange and almost passive aggressive ways. Carl should be happy with this description as an Nurgle player. I mean, again, it's the people who use ideology to uplift themselves, to impose their daddy issues. It's like they want to fight this ideological crusade, but the problem is most people don't take them seriously and never took them. Like, these are very weak individuals, but through the power of the woke company and having a grasp on the IPs of people, now they are like, oh yes, now I can impose these things. I can call that person a racist, even though I instigated them. It's like, again, they're trying to use ideology to. And again, if it wasn't, I 100% believe if it wasn't woke ideology, it would be like Christian ideology, or in some odd turn of events. If it was like, the Wolfenstein world where the Nazis take over America, it'd be Nazi. Like, there are these types of people, right, who only exist to moralize to others, and they'll use whatever ideology, that's, you know, in power to do so. And again, there's also just some people that just cannot create, and they'll use whatever ideology they can to impose that, or to suck up the wealth of people who work for a living and redistribute it amongst themselves, amongst their friends, amongst their family, right? And again, this is just universally cancerous and does, damage to the it does damage to the ideology as a whole. Because again, it's supposed to be a movement. Like, Black Lives Matter is supposed to just be a movement to address issues that most people will agree with, but because they need an enemy, because they need someone to go against, like, again, it actively pushes people away from you, and it actively pushes people against you. And apparently, again, this is what people want. And it's the same thing with most of these ideologies. And again, you could say the same thing about the evangelical Christians, but you know, at the very least, they're not trying to come in and change things. Like, they did try to censor things, right? They did create the ESRB, but the ESRB was fine. Like, it was the perfect system. But now above the ESRB, you have just a bunch of other goofy ass rules on entertainment and on art. The art that is, by the way, supposed to be subjective, but there are objectively rules on art that you have to go by. Otherwise, your game cannot be sold in that country. Or unless you hire consultants. Once you hire the consultants, you can effectively do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you can have the bear sex scene in Baldur's Gate 3, You can have that and it'd be fine. And Steam don't say a damn thing. Sony don't care. Like if you're a multi-billion-dollar company, you can do this. But if you're just some Joe Schmo off the street, you cannot. Because again, they want to impose their will on others. They want to feel powerful and impose this on other people. But, you know, it's not that people really are mad, it's that they don't care. They're like, okay, I'll just move to anime, right? You know, I'll move to other forms. People talk with their money in their wallet, you know, not with their ideology. Well, I mean, again, unless you're these ideologically possessed individuals and you only view the world through ideology, which I could never live like that, but people do, or at least people, you know, ride the grift. But anyway, I mean, it's. I do believe Space Marine 2 is probably going to be the last decent product. I mean, I knock on wood. I don't want to say it's going to be bad, but again, you know the company, you know the type of people that work at the company. You know that they've been what they did with the lore of 40K. You know that they're trying so hard to be woke and suck up that ESG money, but they can't because they sell plastic. And that doesn't give you a very high ESG score, now does it? But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. Peace.